hackers, it's like they're targeting churches, because I've heard, like, I keep hearing these stories about people hacking, and it's always coming up in the like best spot ever, like a church. So I wonder if they know when they're hacking, I'm gonna hack this church.
Oh yeah, they
Like, do
must
they
already
know
have the
where they're hacking?
details. Yeah, because they must be like the IP address, or they must have a list, like
Oh, it's too
a
funny.
church list or something, you know. So
They're like, churchgoers need porn too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That could be a t-shirt. That should be a
yeah,
t-shirt.
that's a great
I'm gonna
t-shirt.
make that
Yeah.
t-shirt.
I think there's a few quotes from your web show with your co-creator. That there was one about, it was very Abbott and Costello. It was about you give me half the rent and I'll pay it all back, or whatever the quote is. I'm screwing it up now, but it's from Abbott.
Pressure's on.
I can't remember which one's which with Abbott and Costello, but the fatter one was always getting conned by the other. And he was always ripping him off, and he could never work out how he was getting ripped off. But yeah, that just reminded me of that. And I really enjoyed the show. It was great.
Oh, awesome. It's so good to hear.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun making it. So yeah, 2 seasons. 2 seasons are out there. Did you watch season 2 or season no, 1, right?
Watched the first season and kind of save for that for later, you know.
Oh, fantastic.
We're in a world now where you can watch pretty much everything all the time, and I'm finally getting through Band of Brothers, and I'm watching one at night because there's only so much more I can watch, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like I'm impressed with my friends. Like, my goal in life is to be able to binge watch all the popular series, because I have friends who do it and I'm like, wow, they're accomplished. How are they doing that?
Yeah.
Takes a lot of time, and there's a lot of stuff out there. So there's so many things on the list, and I'm like, how are they getting this done? Like, I know we're all at home all day, but come on, you still have to eat, you have to poop, you have to go for like little walks around the block. You live in a place where you can do that if there's not a lot of people. How are you watching a series a day?
Yeah,
I'm impressed by it.
I think if you end up with too much on your list, it becomes a chore. I think you start having a checklist, like your shopping list, and it just becomes a little bit of a chore.
I kind of feel that way now. I'm like, gotta watch Netflix, gotta watch Amazon Prime Video, gotta watch Quibi, gotta watch YouTube, gotta watch Facebook. I've got this long checklist and I just can't get to it all.
Yeah, I'm getting this repetitive, this is going to sound ridiculous, I'm getting this repetitive injury in my wrist, not because of that, but because of watching my phone. Like, too much of watching content on my phone. Have I posted that right? Have I posted that video? Because I've created a crux for myself of posting these videos every lunchtime now, these little reviews.
Yeah, those are great.
I know.
And now I want to watch all those things, and I'm like, now I have more to add to my list.
Yeah,
for the ones that I haven't seen.
It's really odd what's happening, especially with isolation. It's like your old friendships that, you know, the kind of friendships that are quite distant because they used to go to school with them, or you don't see them anymore. They're kind of rekindling some of those, aren't they? Through people.
Yeah, exes too for single people.
Exactly. Yeah.
All these people are coming out of the woodwork. Yeah, I agree. I feel like people I haven't talked to in years, suddenly they're like, how you been doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of nice in a way. It's good to connect with people, but at the same time, I do have to put boundaries and set the phone aside sometimes and just leave it and realize, like, hey, I'm going to get to it later today. It's not dire. I need some freedom from this phone. But I get what you're saying with the wrist problems, because I plug my phone in at night and it's on the night table, but it's reachable, but I have to like crouch over like that to reach it and do some final like TikToking, which I was doing, but I deleted that. I was addicted. So I'll plug it in and I'm like, no more texts. That's it for the night. And then I'm like, well, maybe one more. And then I wake up with this like neck back pain. And I'm like, oh, it's from texting for an extra hour before bed last night.
Yeah. Do you ever get that thing where you leave your phone underneath your body or your earphones, and when you wake up, you've got the impression
I have not done that yet,
I've done that, yeah.
but ask me again into a couple more weeks of quarantine or self-isolation, and I'm sure I will have done that. I just always make sure it's plugged in, because I'm like, gotta plug it in at night. I can't lay here in bed with it. I'll wake up and tomorrow it'll be dead. Then what will I do?
I know, exactly. So it's very odd, the behavior we're all going through now.
Yeah, we're going through some weird things.
It's an increased version of what a lot of people already go through, you know.
Yeah.
So how are you coping with your isolation? How are you with your folks? Are you in your own place? So what's
Yeah,
the
I
deal?
came back to my hometown. Even though I can't see all of my family, they all live here, and I was living in Toronto. Back and forth. Last year I spent 6 months here, because I also am working on bringing more productions up here. We shot season 2 of My Roommates in Escort, which we were talking about earlier, co-created by Katie Uhlmann and directed by Katie. And so we shot season 2 up here, and then I stayed here for a couple months. And now I'm working on, we had such great experience, so I'm working on doing more productions up here. So I spent about half the year up here now and half in Toronto. When this happened, I grabbed my things. I was like, I gotta go home. My mom's, this is the end of the world. I have to go home. And I had a little panicked moment and came up here. Didn't expect it to be, I realized I was panicked for a reason. Like, here we are 7 weeks in, and there's still a long time to go.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Yeah, I've you know, like, we've got not a bet going with a group of friends of mine, but I'm saying I think 16th of June when the isolation's lifted in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Wow.
that's my guess anyway.
Yeah, June. Okay. I can, you know what, I'm coping though. The first 2 weeks I was, I guess when you watch the news too, and you realize that if you're not sick right now, if one of your direct family members isn't sick, it's not the worst thing. Like, so we're staying home, watching content, making content, and wearing our jogging pants. It could be so much worse.
Yeah,
So I guess you just have to like stay home and hope for the best for everyone to just for us to get over it, and for everyone to stay safe and healthy.
absolutely. I started my first day of isolation because I work as a photographer and video producer for a local university, as well as do my bits and bobs freelance. And my first day, I was in my dressing gown and PJs. But after that, I just got dressed for work. It gave me a bit of more focus. And then in and around outside of work, I just had this urge to create content more so than any other time, in a really odd way, because I have so little time outside of full-time work. I thought, this is the time to do it. This is the time to get the right microphone. This is the time to execute those ideas you've always wanted to do. You can't leave the house, but what can we do? So we came up with the idea, Chris and I came up with the idea of the festival on the last video job we had before the closure. And we thought, well, why don't we create content for each other and make a mini competition between me and you? And then he said, oh, why don't we open it up, and why don't we make it more of a festival? And then it was like a light bulb moment. 2 or 3 other people have done it as well. Well, I thought, oh, why don't we just create a whole thing about it where people could submit, make it about giving people a creative outlet, a focus, a distraction. And as soon as that went off in my head, and Chris went off to do another job, that day on my lunch break, I bought all the domains. I got the Twitter. I got all of it. Thought, I've got to get this. I've got to get this now. I'm like, I know you have you must have those moments where you have a great idea.
Yes.
6 months down the road, someone's already written it. Somebody's already got a pilot for it, or a series, or a film, and you regret not taking that impetus, even though they were just social media things. I just thought, right, I've got to do this now. This is the opportunity, you know. So
I totally relate to that immediacy of, as soon as you feel something when you're creating, you want to go all out and make it a thing right away, and make it known that it's an entity, like make it into something right away. I kind of get the same way even with my my own podcast, or like you said, the film I submitted to you, Diary of a Dangerchild, I came up with the concept as a series years ago, and I started telling people about it, and they're like, that's Kimmy Schmidt. And I was like, what's Kimmy Schmidt?
Oh,
And
yeah,
then I realized the rest of the world had been, I was like living under a rock, like this character, Sparkle Dangerchild, and I wasn't aware. And then I checked out the show and I was like, this is fantastic. Yeah, you're right. This is the same sort of concept. So I didn't ever develop it into a series. And then when I came across your festival, because you guys are doing amazing marketing, and found it on Instagram, I thought, okay, I have to make something for this. And then that character was living in my head. So I thought, this is something I can shoot from home.
Yeah.
With my iPhone. A little snippet of my idea for the
fun,
whole show for this. Yeah, it's just, the short film is a little snippet of this world, but yeah, it's definitely not Kimmy Schmidt. I wish it was, it'd be very successful. But I think now I'm inspired because of you guys holding this festival to develop it into a series, and I'm gonna apply for some grants.
Yeah,
trying to do so and film it when this is all over.
It's a little bit, if you look at, have you seen Sunset Boulevard? How she's in her own bubble, and she's like obsessed, and she thinks the world revolves around her continuously. There's an element of that in it as well. You know, so
someone said a quote from that movie to me yesterday.
Yeah. There's a feature film with Josh Hartnett called Lucky Number 11. I think Ben Kingsley's in it and Bruce Willis. Now, the reason I mention that is this whole tinfoil hat. You should write, send your script to yourself and copyright it if you can. And there's Ben Kingsley's character in it. It's called the Rabbi, or the Rabbi Assassin. Now, when that film came out, that I had that idea as a rabbi, like an Orthodox Jew rabbi, as an assassin. But I did a short film at college years before with the character called the Rabbi. And
no way.
I had so I've got the evidence. I was devastated.
You're like, I have the evidence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because just think about how iconic that is in terms of a hitman, but with the hat and the whole look.
Oh man, that must be so, when you see that in mainstream media and you're like, that is my idea.
Yeah,
I feel like there's like, and it seems like such a creative, original idea. I guess we're all people, and ideas are out there, and there must be like, I don't know, I feel like if I smoked weed right now, I could be like a Dangerchild. I feel like she would be like, everything is a unit and everything is unity, and one thought is all thoughts. So if you have a thought, the thought exists, and now it's out there, and now it's floating around for others to hold on to.
Yeah.
That's what she would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think you put your thought out there, and it floated in a thought wave to them, and they took it.
It must be very difficult, because you hear about not joke thieves, but people getting to the same jokes in stand-up, because I watch a lot of stand-up.
Yeah.
And we all watch or have a look at Joe Rogan's content and a lot of others, and you hear about comedians getting to the same joke. So it must be, just even more kind of a focus of that they've got my joke. You hear this whole thing about Amy Schumer and a couple of comedians that did similar jokes that's in one of her feature films. And it's a tricky thing. So yeah, when you come up with a great idea, you don't even say it out loud. So if you watch,
say it out loud. Don't put it out there.
Yeah, if you watch the footage,
don't do anything. Live in a bubble forever. Do not speak or think.
In that footage where I'm dressed as a rabbi assassin.
So you played the rabbi.
Oh yeah. I had no beard. I just had the hat and the jacket and the black trousers. But in the wide shot, I've got those blue plastic things to cover my shoes because it was so muddy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty dire, that scene, but I was gutted. Yeah, anyway, enough about that.
I would love to see footage from that film.
Yeah, there's at college we wrote scenes that didn't necessarily need to join, but yeah, it was just about shooting on location, and I didn't really know what I was doing at that point. But now so a little bit more. But yeah, just trying to
Yeah, that's
improve.
how we learn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like how long did it take you to that original idea for your short film? How long did that, that original process before you kind of put it to one side? Were you thinking over a period of months or years or?
Hmm. Well, I don't even know where the character came from for this. Like, I guess each project is a little different. Sometimes you sit down and you're like, I want to apply for this grant or this thing, so let's come up with an idea. Or I want to pitch to this network, so let's come up with an idea for a show. And then sometimes something just kind of comes to you. For Sparkle Dangerchild, she was a character that I came up with, I think, when I was drunk a few years ago. And she was supposed to be this like easygoing alter ego hippie girl, who's super naive. So she was raised in a small town, and she by a hippie mom, and she's super naive and doesn't really know anything about the world. So she's really a danger to herself and to those around her because she's so like aloof and carefree. And then it just kind of like I forgot about her and put her like way back there in my brain, and have been developing other things. And but then when I saw the short film festival, I was thinking, I'm not good with cameras. That's not my strong suit. I've always worked with DOPs, and that's not my thing. I'm like, I don't even have a DSLR. So I thought, what can I shoot on my phone? And I thought, okay, I'm not good with cameras and lighting, but I might be funny. So I'm gonna go with what my strength is, and I'm going to shoot this little like video diary of this kooky character addressing her fans. And she has a following of 260 people.
Yeah.
It goes up one in the film, and she's addressing her fans about the issues of being a public figure stuck indoors, because it's pretty tough for her. And I just really wanted to mock the whole public figure idea, because there's so many public figures these days. There's like, you go onto Instagram and someone has 1.1 million followers, and you're like, what have you done in your life? You're like pouting your lips and sticking out your butt. And I'm like, here I am, like other people are trying to slave away and become like a filmmaker and just get their project seen. It's like, oh, that's what I had to do online to become a public figure and get some but then they don't bring attention to their projects because they're just pouting their. Anyways, I just wanted to make fun of public figures because I feel like they're.
I think that worked. I think that worked really well, especially when you.
Oh, thank you.
That scene about the going up one follower. I think everyone that gets a lot of people get the film or understand it, and I think that moment in particular. And I like how you see. I can't remember what the quote is, but how you see words differently, and it was pube and flick or something.
Oh yes, I like to break down words, and public has pube and lick in it, which are both very sensual things. So I'm very hopeful that I will indeed be a public figure when we come out of this.
You can imagine just the idea you came up with, and it is. I wouldn't even think. I think it's almost a better idea now, because forget the whole Kimmy Schmidt thing. It's a better idea because it's so poignant. And if you have a look at a film that like They Live, the way the world is now, it's so kind of on point. And your film is making a mockery of people that take themselves so seriously. And that's why I think it works so well. Like all the films we've received, and we received another one today, and they've all worked so well in so many different ways. There's what I watched Lady and the Tramp a couple of weeks ago for the first time, and because I had a trial of Disney Plus, And then a few days later, I'm not sure if it's someone that you know, but it's an actress, and she it's called Gus and Us. It's gone to another couple of festivals as well. It's just about 3 minutes, and it's about this dog, and it's their perspective on isolation, and it's
Oh, that's so funny.
it's very
I
clever.
love that.
And yeah, it's very, very clever, and I was laughter. But I'd say all of them have been great in their own way, and it's just
Yeah, I feel like that's the beauty of a festival like this, and it's amazing that you guys have created this and given filmmakers a chance to now assess their skills and be like, okay, well, what can I work with and still create from home? It's funny you say the animal film, because I'm here with 2 dogs and I don't have actors. And this film festival also inspired me to get my hands on a DSLR, and now I'm learning how to use a Canon and filming the dogs.
great. That's great.
Yeah, and then I'm going to learn to edit on the Mac, where I've only done it on my iPhone before. So now I'm like, okay, step up the game, get the DSLR.
Yeah.
So I borrowed one, had it dropped off from a family member, and then I'm going to figure out how to edit. But this is really, like, I think a lot of people are doing that now with, say, using their pets as the subjects, or their mom or their sister or their boyfriend or it's really like, I'm surprised at how many people are really putting their stuff out there, and I'm really inspired by it, and like grateful to see people stepping out of their regular skill set or wheelhouse or comfort zone and really going for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, one of the limitations was you can film within your house, and we changed it initially where it can be filmed within your grounds. So if you've got a garden or a yard or whatever, you can use that. And then we did a live little Q&A thing on Instagram a couple of Fridays ago, and we joked that if you've got a massive orchard or a huge mansion or something, it could be great. But then someone contacted us, and this is amazing. He does the audio production on a cruise ship that can't dock anywhere, so it's in the middle of an ocean. Basically, I think it's off France or something like that. And I said to him, you should be shooting a horror film with the crew right now, or a documentary about how the crew are getting on. Because imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that you've
and
got
I feel like you could maybe even use some of the same footage for the doc and the horror movie. They could use the same footage and then just add in like creepy music and make it a horror.
Yeah, because just think how, because you know way better than I, because was it a school they used in the Void?
Yeah, my high school.
Oh, that's
or not
incredible.
I hate to say my. I attended this high school, and years later they were shooting The Void there. And it's like, that's my hometown. I'm auditioning for that. And then, yeah, it was so crazy to see them turn it into this hospital with monsters. And then they actually, the city tore down the building right afterwards. So now it's just a field. So it was really great to get back there. And I found on the floor when I was there to film a CD, and I thought, I wonder what that is. That, I'm going to pick it up. I just had this instinct, and I picked up a CD off the floor, no cover, and it said graduation of whatever year. I don't even know what year I graduated. It was so long ago. And I brought it home. I washed the CD. I put it into my computer, and it was my graduating class's graduation ceremony.
That is the plot of another film.
Right? All these photos.
That's incredible.
And yeah, it was pretty cool.
So you can see that we'll definitely go back to that. That I said, you've got a huge opportunity here. There's no one else on it. I think the crew is minimum skeleton crew. Just watch Ghost Ship. It's not the greatest film, or Deep Rising or something. Get an idea. There's an episode of The X-Files that it's in 2 different time periods on a cruise ship. And just shoot something, walk around on your own, set the camera up, walk around just create something really quickly. And you've got huge production value, because hiring a boat or any location is going to cost you a fortune. Do it now. Otherwise you'll never be able to do it again.
Yeah. Can you imagine renting a cruise ship for your film? That's not doable. They're sitting on a gold mine. They should make all of the movies. Just make movies all day.
Because just think what unscrupulous crews are doing now. they're probably
Yeah.
filming locations like I met a filmmaker that did the director of Rogue One, Gareth Edwards, and he was
Mhm.
talking about monsters at a Q&A. It was his first big feature film, and it had
Mhm.
what's he called? It's the chap that's in *Halt and Catch Fire*, not the taller of the two. There's two acts, I think Skeet something, and
Ski Ulrich.
no, it's
Oh,
oh my god, I can't remember. I'm going to put a picture up of him now. Anyway,
okay.
that's for later. And
That's for
basically,
later for the edit. I thought you were
exactly.
magical. I was like, oh, you can just like you have technology that we don't
Yeah.
have over here.
What was my point? I forgot what my point was. It was about monsters, Gareth Edwards. Anyway, oh yeah, this is it. In Monsters, it's a super low budget film. It's about getting from, I think it's the top of South America up to the US, but Mexico and Central America is a war zone for aliens, and you don't see too many aliens, you only see them at night. It's just called Monsters. It's fantastic. And
Oh, okay.
they filmed after, was it Hurricane Katrina? The crew went to where the disaster sites were, and basically these abandoned towns and areas, they filmed all the exteriors before any
Oh,
kind of cleanup. So it's like, you think, oh wow, this budget of this
wow.
film's massive, So yeah, he took great
I
advantage of
like
that,
that.
and
That's wow.
it's smart
It's
thinking,
always
isn't it?
cool to hear it's always cool to hear the process behind every film that's made, because they really do get crafty. And a
Yeah.
lot of people have to come together and come up with these ideas. And then if plan A doesn't work out, time for plan B. Yeah, that's super cool.
So you must have been part of quite a few projects that have those ideas, and because it's on a smaller budget, you just don't have the
Hmm.
time. And that
Yeah.
takes me to my first little question
Okay, cool.
from a friend of mine. So this is a friend called Will Cotton that I've worked with for years,
I
and
will.
he'll appreciate that. He's and let me find it. So we're a huge fan of the film you're in, The Void. If no one, if a few of you haven't seen it, watch it now or watch it after you watch this. It's currently on Amazon UK, so you can watch it on there. Okay, so this is about The Void, which is fantastic, by the way. And
Yeah.
you are in one of the best scenes in the film.
Oh, that's so cool to hear. I
because
went to the premiere and people were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear you were cut out." And I'm like, "No, I'm
no,
there.
you're
I
not.
don't know if you were expecting me to be a lead, but like I'm in there. I said a couple words to camera. I'm like floating, the ghost, the lace dress, the feet, the bloody no."
Were
So I'm
you
surprised if anyone actually can find me in it, because it's such a small part.
were you in the scene slightly later when the chap's crouched over your body? Is that you? Because
I'm
you get
okay.
followed.
So
You get
I'm in.
followed.
I was in a couple of, let me think about this. I was laying on a farmhouse floor with a baby with blood all over
Yeah,
my feet. My
yeah.
toenails were bright orange that day because I thought, I don't think they're really going to see my feet.
Yeah,
And it was like all feet.
that's in
Stupid moment
that's
on
in
my
that.
part.
Yeah, that's in it. Yeah, but not
So
the
they kept
orange nails.
saying,
No.
more blood. And the floating feet, which aren't actually my feet. Flashing at that, there was a big monster, and I'm there for the husband, the guy, like I'm the dead wife to Daniel Father's character. And
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
so if you look on the IMDb, it says the mother, the father. So they credited me the mother, and he has a much bigger role. He's a star. He's amazing, and he was the father. But when he, spoiler alert, his character, anyways, he's in a little face off with a monster, and I'm kind of flashing behind with our baby, and I've
Yeah.
got blood. But I don't know. I'm floating here and there in the background. It's like I'm there a bit, but it's very obscure.
So sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent, but very good to know.
The monsters were so cool. Oh my gosh, they were terrifying.
This is why I know it didn't have a huge box office, but this is why people's gravitated to it so much. because of the monsters as well, because it felt so visceral. And this is
Hmm.
something that a lot of studios don't understand. You need to have that connection. Like
Yeah.
you look at the highest end films, like if you look at Jurassic Park and that scene
Hmm.
in the rain, you've got a mixture inside the rear truck with Alan Grant and Jeff Goldblum's
Yeah.
character. It goes from the animatronic to CG. That's what
Hmm.
everyone accepts. You will accept the CG stuff if you've got
Hmm.
something there that you know that's got weight to it. And
Yeah, you need the physical,
yeah,
even for the actors, when you're on a set and you physically have the, the monsters are physically there, it's a whole different story. It's like I was just when you walked onto that set, just the monsters looked so real. You're honestly terrified.
yeah,
And the directors, Stephen Kostansky and Jeremy, they've been doing special effects for years, and they're really insanely talented artists
yeah.
and built
So
those monsters.
if I
It's
don't know if
amazing,
you've
mind blowing.
seen the yeah, I totally agree. And I sent them a little, they liked the little poster of you, that in fact you were coming on this, because
Oh, that's so cool.
the Instagram account for the film is still active.
Yeah.
So that was nice. And
Yeah, that film, man, it does have a big following.
yeah.
I've heard a lot about it. Like someone said to me once, we were talking about horror films, and they said, "What's your favorite horror film?" And I said, "What's yours?" And she said, "The Void." I'm like, "Oh, I have a tiny part in that." But it
Yeah,
was just so cool for someone to not know and to tell, like, just offer up
yeah,
that
that
that's their favorite part or horror movie, and to have like a tiny little, to have, not even to have a part because that's like ego, but just to be there and get to see the magic that these guys were
absolutely,
making,
yeah.
to witness it. And now it's this cult hit. It's kind of like, I feel grateful that I got to be there to see that going down. And yeah, and I ended up going to the wedding of one of the producers last summer because we ended up having a great friendship out of it. So
That's great.
yeah, it was a really great experience. I'm really grateful for that.
One little side note before I go back to the actual question is that
Yeah, sorry.
if you watch you know, obviously that John Carpenter's The Thing's a huge influence on this film, and
Hmm.
but if you watch the prequel, the American prequel, it is very good, but the filmmakers were shafted, so to speak, because all the practical effects were replaced by CG, so they had
Hmm.
everything in camera like The Void,
Hmm.
and then it was just
Yeah.
taken off them and completely ruined, you know. So
Yeah,
if you try
I've
to do
seen
the
that
same
happen.
thing with The Void, if the you know, and had that budget to do special effects like that, you wouldn't ever feel the same experience. Like I watched it a couple of nights ago, and it's it's really brutal, and you wouldn't get that with CG. You just wouldn't accept, your brain doesn't accept it. Anyway,
Yeah,
let me get back to this
I
question.
fully agree with that.
So Will asks, from what I know of The Void, it was pretty time pressured production. Like many low
Hmm.
budget films, almost didn't happen. Could you tell us
Hmm.
about your experience working on that film, and if you find it as intense on the set as the final result on screen? All the best for these trying times.
Oh, Will, you sound so nice. I love that kind. All the best. All the best to you too. Yeah, it was. I auditioned for it. I think I was bartending and I sat in a garden on my break. I went down the street and I got one of the customers to come with me and film me for my audition, in out of a garden, and sent it off. And I audition probably at least once a week for things. So I should really be in a lot more projects, but maybe I should quit. Um, no, so you never expect to get a role because it's just something you do as an actor. You're an auditioner and you create your own projects so that you can act. And then a few months later, I guess, yeah, I guess it was maybe not going to happen or whatever was going on, but I thought I didn't get it. And then months later, I was bartending and saw the email that I got a role in it. And that was super exciting and unexpected, because I thought it wasn't happening because I had auditioned so many months earlier. Yeah,
And
so I don't know what happened there with
that's not a
the
normal
delay, but
process, is it? that
Yeah,
kind of that,
usually if you audition for something, you would find out within 2 weeks, and then you would be shooting shortly after. It's very last minute. So so I didn't expect it. So it was a very nice surprise. It was terrifying um, walking onto the sets because there were just like cool bloody walls and monsters around every corner. And it was, oh, the hallway, they had like a hallway that moved and shifted, and
that
it
closes
was
up
just
towards the end. Yeah, it closes up.
yes, yeah, and it was all that was practical and built, and it was just really cool to see that level of skill in the world of practical effects.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah.
What was the kind of apparently there's a limit of 40 minutes on this, so if it goes off, I'll give you a quick call
Okay.
back. But anyway,
Sweet.
hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah.
What was the kind of camaraderie like on set? Because obviously with a low budget film, it feels more like a team effort, because you hear like the chaps that made Blair Witch talk about this when they go to conventions and kind of regale stories about the production. That it's, you know, it becomes quite a good strong bond. Like you said, you went to the producer's wedding, was it last year? So
Yeah, just this past summer. Casey Walker, and he directs the series The Boys now. Casey's a great guy. Check out any of his work. And speaking of so to answer the camaraderie, I'll start with Casey, who was on a scooter. He's this like friendly guy, and he's on a scooter, you know, scootering around the hallways. And so he's a producer. So I think they kind of set the tone. And then the two directors, Stephen and Jeremy, I was only there for 3 days, so I can't speak to the entire production, but all the actors were really getting along, and they're great. And like Evan, who's on Letterkenny now, he's just the sweetest guy. And Aaron Poole is so talented and so down to earth and kind. And everyone was, I ended up having we had classrooms as our trailers. So one day I was in my old history classroom, and I was like, I can't believe this, like I'm in charge of this room now, Mrs. P. This is my room now. No, but this one day I got paired up with Twisted Troy is his name on Instagram. And he's he played a like jumping spider, and he's a contortionist, and was just the nicest, sweetest guy. And his career since then has, I feel like he's in Guillermo del Toro films, and that was, I think, his first. I think he was telling me in the trailer in our classroom that this was his first time ever on a film set, and he hadn't really thought about acting, but I think his roommate was an actor and asked him or told him about the audition, and now he has a career in it. So it was cool to be. Everyone was, there's no one that it was just a great team. And at the end of the day, when I was there, I was covered in blood. And and Daniel Fathers was joking around with me about it, and the makeup team. And it was definitely a really nice crew.
That's great.
Yeah.
And if shame on you, if people haven't seen it, watch it. It's on Amazon UK, hopefully Amazon worldwide. You've got to see it. It's fantastic. It's probably one of the best horror films in the last 10 years at least, simply because it's so visceral. And when you watch it, watch In the Mouth of Madness by John Carpenter as well. There's some real strong parallels. You know, the kind of opening to the other side, the triangle doorway towards the end of the film. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. There's a whole rogues gallery of monsters charging in the mouth of madness, and there's something so similar and sinister about the two films. I think they pair well. So if you're doing like a monster mashup and you're watching a series of films, In the Mouth of Madness and The Void, and probably The Thing as well, to kind of connect that, and then you'd probably be exhausted after that because you've been terrified. So thank you very much for talking about that, because it is honestly, when a film hits you or something connects with you, anyone associated with it, and you're in it as well, it's a very special thing, you know. So I just wanted to go back to the kind of web series you produced with, what was your the director of the web series you produced?
With Katie Uhlmann.
It was my roommate is an escort.
Yes, my roommate's an escort.
So what was the
So we
kind
did
of,
2 seasons.
how did you get to that point of coming up with that idea together?
Oh, we met drunk at a party and shared some multiple roommate stories between the two of us and dating stories. And we got together for coffee a couple days later and just kind of came up with this concept and wrote the episodes together and raised money for the first season through Indiegogo and some investors or sponsors, and shot season 1 in Toronto and then season 2 up here in Sault Ste. Marie in my hometown, and gained funding for season 2, and now they're both out there on Seeka TV. So that's
Fantastic.
SEEK. It's another streaming site, SEEKATV.com. When you go to the site, it's on the it says popular series or something as soon as you go onto the site, and it's there. And yeah, you can go binge it, and you don't have to pay for an account. It's Seeka's free.
I was really quite impressed with how it was shot. It was the DP or whoever shot it for you did a cracking job on that.
So we had Russ Guzzi on season 1, and then on season 2 we had Alvin Sun, and then Katie directed both seasons. And yeah, we had some really, really talented people involved. So that was a dream come true.
I in the first season, I especially loved the casting of the landlord.
Oh yes, he's so fantastic. He's in Schitt's Creek. He's in all sorts of comedies. Yeah, he's such a funny guy.
Yeah, he's got a great face for cinema. You know what I mean? He's kind of got that look, like, you know, just the kind of terrifying landlord at one point. And I love the resolution for the rent. We'll let people watch that, but the resolution that the perceived resolution for how the rent's paid is quite funny. But yeah.
And his name's AC Peterson. I didn't say his name, or Alan C. And he also holds acting classes, which are so much fun.
Oh,
in
very
Toronto.
cool.
If you're in Toronto and you're looking for, once this is, I don't know if he's doing them online. I don't think so, but yeah, very talented guy.
I just remembered something that you've got. There's a film you're in post-production currently. Is that right? It says on IMDb.
Which
I
one?
think. Is it Campton
there's
Manor
probably a couple.
something?
Oh, Campton Manor. Yes, Kat Hostick directs that, and she's such a go-getter, such a down-to-earth, sweet person. We've written a bit together over the past year, and she's another very talented female. Not saying that I am. I mean, we've brought up other filmmakers. So, I mean, I'm not calling me a talented filmmaker. I mean, she's also, in addition to Katie and the other filmmakers we've talked about, she's in Jeremy and Stephen. She's also a very talented Canadian director, filmmaker. And,
I noticed one of your co-stars in that film is the Doctor in The Void.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I feel like my roles in both of those are, so there's all these like classifications as an actor.
Okay.
Based on how many lines you have. So if you have like, I think it's like if you have like 1 to 8 lines, it's an actor role. If you have 8 plus, it's a 8 to something, it's a small principal. If you have this to this, it's a principal. So I have an actor role in The Void and then in Campton Manor. So I think I had 2 or 3 lines in Campton Manor. And I don't know if we ended up shooting one of them. I think it was just like, because there was some camera stuff. And anyways, I don't even know if I have any lines in the final edit or if I'm there.
Yeah.
That's always the thing. You're like, am I gonna get cut out?
Yeah, absolutely.
You never know. Yeah, that happened in V Wars. A lot of my scenes were cut for that. That was a principal role, and then it ended up being like did you have to audition for that? That was such a, you were the, I think I saw you. Yeah. So they end up keeping so much less sometimes than I think they kept a couple lines.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
another scene. But yeah. So Campton Manor, small part in it myself, great filmmaker, and I'm excited to see what Kat's done with it, Kat and her team, and excited to see it. Also, it had one of the guys from Party of Five, so I was a little like, oh, hey. Or maybe it was his twin brother. I think it might have been his twin brother. I don't know. Anyways, that was a fun experience. So I am excited to see that. And you'll love it because it's horror.
Yeah, some of the stills, it just kind of, had that vibe. Like, yeah, that's my cup of tea. So yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to watch that. So what,
I'm excited to see it.
What would you say to? What advice would you give to someone that wanted to submit a film for the festival? From your perspective,
I would say work within your skill set, but also don't be afraid to try something new, because now is the time to experiment, to not, to be fearless. Just go for it. Work with your skill set, try new things. This one, I guess in terms of camera, I maybe played it safe because I did it on my cell phone, but now you guys have inspired me to bust out a DSLR and figure that out for my next film. And one thing leads to another. So you keep learning from every film that you make, and it always leads to something else. And it's kind of, art has this like domino effect. And to just go for it. And if you just have a cell phone like I did, shoot on your cell and get one of the, Google an app that you can edit on and figure out how to edit. There's Google and YouTube for everything, so you can figure it out. And if you can't, then put a posting out there for an editor and send your footage along. But don't be afraid and just do it.
Yeah, I think you made a strong case for that for your film, because you can see from your other projects the writing and, like you're saying, within your wheelhouse, what you're strong at. And I think that came across really well. I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter too much about the other elements, because like that's those skill sets, those technical skill sets, you'll learn on set. You'll learn by producing, by making. Like I wish I was a strong writer, because the writing aspect's key. Story is king, And I think that it doesn't matter what you shoot on, because you look at people like Steven Soderbergh. He shot a feature film. I think it was called Sane, a feature film entirely on an iPhone, just with a couple of adapted lenses. So anything's achievable, really. Like the chap that shot, what was that Willem Dafoe film? I think it was something Florida Hotel. It was Willem Dafoe in this hotel. I'll put a screenshot up of it. But he shot his first feature film, I think, entirely on an iPhone, and then his next project was a feature film with Willem Dafoe. So I might have got those couple of those details wrong, but it's he went from one tiny project on an iPhone to basically he had this little adapted anamorphic lens on this iPhone, shot the entire feature like that, and then his next project is this huge film that's got mass appeal. So anything's achievable. Like I think you've done a great job with your submission, because it really takes aim at the people that think the self-importance that isn't important. It's just look after your friends and family and your own health. That's the most important thing. But yeah, I think you've done a stellar job. And
thank you so much. I'm glad you guys, I didn't know making it, if it's, to me, I'm like, is this crap? Is this, I don't know, but I'm so glad that you've accepted it and enjoyed it, and that you're making it a part of the festival. I feel like that's it's an honor, and I really appreciate this connection too, and getting connected with you guys across the ocean during this time.
Absolutely.
So how beautiful is that you're connecting all these people?
Exactly. Yeah. In between you and me over the ocean is that cruise liner.
Yes, and now you're inspiring them to make the film, and I really hope
Exactly.
they do.
They've
I
got
would love to
they've
see
got
that.
no excuses. One little new thing for everyone watching is that we're trying to decide. Obviously, we don't have any kind of financial backing. Everything's off our own back. So what we've decided to do, instead of prizes or gifts or anything like that, we're going to try and find a artist to create a one-off print for everyone that's made a submission and send those out to people. So everyone that submits a film is going to get a unique poster with everyone's names on, or at least the title of their films, and it's going to be
that's so nice.
so it's going to be a print sent out to everyone. So that's a little reveal. That's something I came up with.
That's beautiful. And that takes a lot of effort too, even to like mail those out and do that. So what you guys are doing is no small feat, and it's very appreciated.
But yeah,
so thank you.
The thing, no, you're welcome. The thing that inspired that was Polish cinema posters. Now, if you look at Polish cinema posters, when you look at the poster, you wouldn't think, oh, that's Alien. Oh, no, that's The Shining. When you look at them, they're just like wild pieces of art that are fantastic. And then you have like great imagery, but then visually you can't tell what they are. So we're looking for an artist. At the University of Chester, we're looking for someone that could create a unique piece of art and incorporate all the names of the filmmakers that submit films to this festival. And there's no limitations on it. We don't want something that's over, graphically over designed. We want something that's unique. So that's something I'm definitely going to do. And yeah, everyone's going to get sent that submits a film.
Wow, that's really beautiful.
If there's a few hundred more submissions, that'll be crazy. Oh no, I've got to send all these things in. Because you know what it's like. If you ever sell anything on eBay,
you're going to be mailing things for years.
Yeah, it'll be worth it though, because it's the fact that people have gone out and said really nice things publicly and privately on emails. It's really nice to hear,
So it's a really hard time for everyone, and any light at the end of the tunnel is really, it's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's
absolutely.
It's really nice to have some ways to connect with others right now.
Yeah, and just one last thing: if you've got if you take a lot of vitamins, don't get them mixed up with your dietary pills or things that'll let you lax. That's a little thing from the show. So that was my highlight from your show. I absolutely loved that. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. That's so nice to hear.
So thank you very much, Trish, for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciated this.
I made the effort last night. It's all going up on iTunes at some point, so it'll be a proper podcast.
Fantastic.
It doesn't feel so real until you can actually hear it in your ears in bed. Do you know what I mean? So,
I love podcasts. It's such a great. It's just they're a great way to stay educated and feel connected with people around the world right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Trish.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You have a great day. Okay.
And thanks for the question, Will.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a great day as well.
See you now. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.